It's time I share with you the craziest thing about living in Denmark. In most countries, when you're buying bananas, they sell it to you by the kilo. In Denmark, they sell it to you by the piece. So it can cost maybe 25 cents for a banana, and it doesn't matter how small or big the banana is, it's always going to be 25 cents. So long story short, recently they had some sort of importation of extra big bananas. So my house is filled with bananas now since I got 10 kilos for only €2. And yeah, I think it's crazy that they do it by the piece. But do you know what else is crazy? The new UI in PyCharm. And this video just aims to show you exactly what it is. As you can see, I'm in the preferences, and in preferences you have this new setting called new UI, which is currently in beta. So I just clicked on that to apply it to my PyCharm and restarted PyCharm. So practically, the new UI is a work in progress effort to reduce the visual complexity of the IDE and help users focus on their work. And I just read that from here because it was a lot easier than saying that by myself. So you might have noticed the contrast is a bit higher. We have this weird blue button at the top right hand corner. We now have the current folder at the bottom. So right now I'm in main.py in my folder here. So all the directories are at the bottom. And the sidebar has some special icons. So if we click on something such as semicolon, you're going to notice at the bottom that it's going to give you the directories at the bottom here. So scheduled, shorts, and semicolon. Now, according to the docs, it's only recommended that you use the default light and dark modes, not other themes, because that's currently what they are trying to work on. And they also mentioned that there are a lot of new icons that are supposed to give us some more distinguishable shapes and colors. And now it's using a font called Inter. And what was most important to me when I heard this is, does it work with ligatures? Which it does, so I don't care at all. But if we go to settings and we click on appearance, here it just says I'm using Apple System UI font. But if we find the font for the editor, so we go editor font, I'm still using JetBrains Mono. So let's find out exactly what this Inter font is. Can I find it? And here it is. So let's look at what Inter looks like, because apparently it was not enabled by default. And so far it just looks like a compacted version of what I had earlier. But my ligatures are not so happy. I mean, a lot of you probably prefer that I do not use ligatures. I absolutely love ligatures. So that ligature worked. Let's try one more time. Let's say x is equal to or more than 1. And we now have new ligatures. This is even worse for you guys. After all the complaining I got, now I have new symbols to play around with. So a lot of the ligatures aren't really working. It seems like if I go to settings and open up the font and go down here, we'll see that actually a lot of these ligatures do not work. And if I turn that off and turn it on again, only by coincidence did that right arrow work. Another thing you probably noticed is that the tool window over here has the icons on the bottom and on the top. The top ones are quite usual, but the ones on the bottom where we have terminal and the Python console feel a bit different. Then we have a project finder in the top left hand corner, and we have our version control here. And on Windows, this is supposed to look different. You might even have a hamburger icon, which allows you to have more context options. And another interesting design choice they introduced is having the debug or the breakpoint symbol over the actual number instead of on the side of it. And that was supposedly an effort to reduce the amount of horizontal space it occupied previously. All in all, it does look quite nice. I do appreciate the elevated contrast. That is something I personally love. Usually when I'm programming in PyCharm, I have this theme called Darkular Darker. And it's supposed to be darker than the original dark theme, which I appreciate a lot because I love that contrast. But let's go back to the font, and I'm a big fan of JetBrains Mono, so I will remain inside JetBrains Mono because I get my ligatures back. So I will apply that and click on OK. So it looks relatively good. It might take you a moment to adjust from the previous version. And let's see if we go to appearance and behavior and we disable it and click on apply and OK. You'll see immediately that there will be some changes, but we had to restart it to get this fully updated version. So it's just something fun to try out in case you're curious. I mean, the previous version was fine, and I think a lot of people are not going to change because this just is so much more familiar for a lot of developers. But I think I will change and give it a go for the next few months. And if I don't like it, I'll just go back to this until we're forced to adapt the new UI. But anyway, that was a quick preview on the new UI that they introduced in PyCharm. I know a lot of you use Visual Studio Code, so this might actually be irrelevant. But for those of you who do use PyCharm, give it a go. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'm curious to hear about it. And as always, with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I mean, seriously, look how big this banana is, and it only costs 25 cents.